There are moments in life when everything else can fade into the background, but the voice of God demands to be heard. This is one of those moments. This is not just another message, not just another word to be set aside or forgotten. It is a call from heaven itself, a message you cannot ignore. For too long, many have walked distracted, weighed down by the noise of the world, by fear, by doubt, by the endless pursuit of things that cannot satisfy. But there comes a time when God breaks through the noise with a voice so clear, so undeniable, that it calls you to stop, to listen, and to turn your heart back to what matters most. This message is not about fear. It is about awakening. It is a reminder that life is not random, that you are not here by accident, that every breath you take is woven into a larger story. The world may tell you that you are just another face in the crowd, but heaven says you are chosen, set apart, and called for a purpose greater than you can see. To ignore this is to miss the very reason you were created. To receive it is to find the path to true life, true peace, and true destiny. The distractions of this age are many. Voices pull you in every direction: politics, entertainment, ambition, and fear. But none of these voices can offer you what God's message can. They promise much but leave you empty. His word alone gives life. His call alone gives direction. His truth alone brings peace that no storm can steal. That is why this message cannot be ignored, because it is the very difference between living in darkness or walking in light, between drifting without purpose or stepping boldly into destiny. This is also a call to courage. Too many live bound by chains that were never meant to hold them. Chains of guilt, of regret, of fear, of shame. But hear this: those chains have no right to define you. You were created for freedom. You were created to stand, to overcome, to shine in the midst of darkness. The voice of God does not speak to condemn you. It speaks to call you higher. It calls you out of the shadows and into the light, out of fear and into faith, out of defeat and into victory. In 2025, the shaking of the world is louder than ever. Nations tremble, systems collapse, hearts grow weary. Yet in the middle of all this shaking, there is a message that remains unshaken. God's word has never failed, and it never will. His promises are as sure today as they were yesterday, as unbreakable now as they have always been. When he speaks, it is not suggestion, it is truth. And that truth has the power to change everything in your life if only you will receive it. This message cannot be ignored because it is for you. Not for someone else, not for another time, not for another season. This is your moment. Heaven is calling your name, reminding you of who you are, and urging you to step into the life prepared for you. You have a choice to let the noise of the world drown it out, or to let the voice of God guide you into your destiny. So open your heart. Do not dismiss this word. Do not turn away. Do not delay. The message of God is not background noise. It is the most important sound you will ever hear. Let it awaken you, let it transform you, and let it lead you into the fullness of the life you were created to live. This is a message from God you cannot ignore. There are moments in life when a person feels shaken to the core, when the noise of the world begins to fade, and a deeper voice within whispers for attention. This is not a voice of ordinary thoughts, but a call that pierces through distractions and illusions, a call to return to the truth that has been forgotten. In today's age, truth has become something many bend, twist, and redefine to suit desires, but deep down, the heart still knows when it is empty. The message that cannot be ignored is a wake-up call, a reminder that real truth cannot be rewritten by human hands, nor can it be drowned by the endless waves of opinions and voices that compete for dominance. It stands firm, unchanging, waiting for those who will humble themselves enough to seek it again. So many chase after wealth, success, recognition, or pleasure, and yet even when these things are gained, the soul remains restless. It is like drinking from a cup that never quenches thirst. The world offers temporary relief but not lasting peace, and every soul longs for that deeper fulfillment. The call of truth is like a light breaking through the darkness, like the sound of a trumpet awakening sleepers in the middle of the night. It is meant to remind us that life is more than survival, more than ambitions, and more than fleeting moments of happiness. It is an urgent call to return to the source of meaning, the foundation that gives every breath a purpose. Ignoring this message comes at a cost. The longer one resists, the heavier the weight of emptiness grows. People may try to bury it under distractions, entertainment, business, or even denial, but sooner or later the heart reminds them that something essential is missing. That stirring is not accidental, it is intentional. It is a call to awaken, to stop running, to realize that life without truth is life without direction, like a ship without a compass drifting endlessly on a stormy sea. When one finally pauses and admits this emptiness, that is the first step back to truth, and in that honesty begins transformation. This wake-up call is not meant to condemn, but to rescue. It is not the harsh voice of judgment, but the tender urging of love that refuses to let us be satisfied with less than what we were created for. The truth is not against us, it is for us, calling us back to who we truly are. Each person has a purpose that can only be discovered when they align themselves with the reality of that truth. It is not an option to keep ignoring it, because ignoring it does not erase it, it only postpones the inevitable confrontation with it. Many people today are asleep with their eyes open, moving through routines, scrolling through endless feeds, working tirelessly, yet never questioning why the inner ache persists. This is why the message is urgent. It is like an alarm clock ringing, telling us that time is passing and opportunities are slipping away. To return to truth is to return to life. It is to find clarity where there was confusion, peace where there was chaos, and strength where there was weakness. It is a call not just for individuals, but for entire societies, for nations, to realign themselves with what is right before it is too late. The wake-up call is here now. It cannot be silenced by disbelief or apathy. The more it is resisted, the louder it grows, because it was placed inside each human heart as a guiding compass. Those who respond to it discover freedom from the illusions of the world and begin a walk in a reality that cannot be shaken. The truth may be uncomfortable at first because it demands change, but ultimately it heals, restores, and renews. The call is not to scare us, but to wake us up, to shake us from sleep, and to remind us that the time to return is now. Every heartbeat carries within it a reminder that time is moving forward, and every passing moment is one step closer to eternity. We often live as though tomorrow is guaranteed, yet life itself whispers that each day is a gift, fragile and fleeting. The urgency of time is not simply about counting the days on a calendar. It is about recognizing that the choices we make today shape the course of our lives and even the lives of those around us. Delaying what is right, postponing decisions of faith, purpose, and truth can cost more than we realize. Time, once lost, cannot be reclaimed, and that reality should stir within us a deep awareness that now is the moment to act. The world has a way of numbing us with distractions, convincing us that we can put off the most important matters until later. We busy ourselves with goals, deadlines, and desires, forgetting that the most significant decision is not about career, wealth, or recognition, but about aligning our lives with the truth of why we exist in the first place. Many wait for a perfect season, a more convenient time, or a sign that feels undeniable, yet in waiting they lose what is right before them. The urgency of time reminds us that the perfect moment is never promised, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. The only time we truly hold is now, and it must not be wasted. When storms come without warning, when health fails suddenly, or when tragedy strikes unexpectedly, the illusion of control shatters, and we are reminded of how fragile and temporary life is. Those moments, though painful, open our eyes to what really matters. They strip away the false securities and reveal that we cannot keep living as if we have endless years ahead. The call of urgency is meant to awaken us before such moments come, to lead us into readiness so that no matter what tomorrow brings, our hearts are already anchored in truth. Living with urgency does not mean living in fear. It means living with intention. It means understanding that every day carries eternal weight, that every conversation, every act of kindness, every decision matters more than we often acknowledge. It is easy to drift into complacency, assuming that life will go on as usual, but history has shown that seasons shift suddenly and opportunities vanish without warning. That is why the call to act now is so powerful. It is not about scaring us, but about sparking us into action before the chance passes. There are countless lives that ended with regrets, with words left unspoken, forgiveness left unoffered, and opportunities left unused. The urgency of time teaches us not to live with such regrets. It tells us to make peace today, to choose purpose today, to embrace truth today. To wait is to gamble with the most precious resource we have, and it is a gamble no one can afford to lose. When we realize the value of this very moment, it changes the way we live. We become more present, more aware, and more willing to do what matters most. Time has always been a silent teacher, reminding us that it is passing whether we acknowledge it or not. The message that cannot be ignored is that delay is dangerous and complacency is costly. Each moment wasted is gone forever, and each moment embraced can change everything. The urgency of time is both a warning and a gift. It warns us that tomorrow is not promised, but it also offers us the gift of today, a fresh chance to choose differently, to walk in truth, and to begin again. To heed this urgency is to honor life itself, to seize the moment, and to step into a future that is built not on delay, but on decisive and meaningful action. No matter how far a person has strayed, no matter how heavy the weight of past mistakes may feel, there is always a door that remains open, a path that still leads home. This is the power of divine mercy. It is not dependent on how good someone has been, nor is it limited by how many times they have failed. Mercy is greater than shame, stronger than guilt, and deeper than despair. It is the reminder that even in our darkest valleys, there is still hope because grace does not abandon and love does not give up. Too often people believe they are beyond forgiveness. They carry scars and regrets as if they are proof that they cannot be restored. Yet, the very essence of mercy is that it meets us not at our best, but at our lowest. It is not earned by perfection, it is given as a gift when we least deserve it. That is what makes it so transformative. It takes the broken pieces of a life and fashions them into something whole again. It takes the ashes of failure and turns them into a testimony of renewal. When the heart cries out for help, mercy responds with open arms, offering a fresh start no matter how many times one has stumbled. Hope is born out of this mercy. Without it, the weight of the past would crush us and the fear of the future would paralyze us. But mercy declares that yesterday does not define tomorrow. It says that where there was once despair, there can now be peace. Where there was once weakness, there can now be strength. It is like a river that flows endlessly, washing away the stains of the past and refreshing the soul with the courage to begin again. Even when the world condemns, mercy lifts up. Even when voices of doubt say it is impossible, mercy whispers that nothing is too broken to be restored. Every story of transformation begins with an encounter with mercy. The addict who finds freedom, the outcast who finds belonging, the one who felt unworthy who discovers unconditional love, all are testimonies that hope is real because mercy is real. This hope does not deny the reality of mistakes. It acknowledges them but refuses to let them have the final word. It declares that failure is not fatal and the end is not written until grace has spoken. To embrace mercy is to embrace the possibility of change. It is to believe that the same power that forgives can also empower, guiding us into a new chapter filled with purpose. Mercy does not only erase guilt, it plants seeds of growth. It takes what was once lost and sets it on a course of restoration, proving that no one is too far gone. The same hand that pulls us out of despair also sets us on solid ground, giving direction where there was once only confusion. This message of mercy is not just personal, it is universal. It reminds us that we are never alone, that the Creator of life has not abandoned us to our failures. Instead, mercy stands as an open invitation to step into light even after years of walking in shadows. It offers not just a second chance, but countless chances because love does not run out and grace does not expire. The hope found in mercy changes everything. It silences the voice of hopelessness and replaces it with a song of renewal. It gives courage to those who thought they had none left. It heals wounds that nothing else could reach. And above all, it proves that life is not defined by the mistakes we have made, but by the mercy that has been given. This is why hope never dies, because mercy never ends. True transformation is never only about changing habits or improving outward behavior. It is about becoming something entirely new, a vessel with greater purpose and deeper meaning. Every person is created with potential far beyond what they often see in themselves, but this potential remains hidden until it is awakened by a profound encounter with truth and love. Transformation is the process that turns pain into strength, fear into courage, and confusion into clarity. It is the reminder that life is not meant to be lived in survival alone, but in fulfillment of a calling that touches not only one's own destiny, but the lives of countless others. When someone chooses transformation, they choose to let go of what was holding them down, old wounds, harmful patterns, or false identities, and embrace who they were always meant to be. This is not an easy process because it demands surrender, courage, and perseverance. Yet it is in that very struggle that greatness is born. Just as a seed must die in the soil before it can rise as a tree, the old self must give way so that the new can flourish. Transformation is rarely instant. It is a journey, but it is one that leads to a life that reflects light and hope in a world drowning in darkness. A greater purpose emerges when transformation takes place. No longer as life centered only on personal gain or fleeting pleasure, it becomes centered on impact, on leaving behind something that matters, something eternal. Those who embrace transformation begin to see beyond themselves. Their actions ripple outward, touching families, communities, even nations. What once seemed ordinary becomes extraordinary because it is infused with intention and guided by a higher calling. A single act of kindness, a word of encouragement, or a step of courage can change the trajectory of another person's life. And this is the fruit of living with purpose. Transformation also brings freedom. Many lives chained to the opinions of others, trapped by fear of failure or by the scars of their past. But true change breaks those chains. It lifts the weight of shame and replaces it with dignity. It silences the lies that say, "You are not enough," and replaces them with a steady confidence that you are chosen for more. With this freedom comes responsibility, because when one discovers purpose, they also realize they are entrusted with influence. How they live, how they speak, and how they act carries weight, and this awareness guides them to walk carefully and intentionally. Living with greater purpose is not about perfection. It is about direction. Even in moments of weakness, the transformed heart keeps moving forward, knowing that setbacks do not erase the calling. In fact, struggles often refine the character needed to fulfill that calling. The fire of adversity strengthens resolve, and the storms of life cultivate resilience. Transformation equips a person not just to survive hardship, but to shine through it, showing others that renewal is possible even in the most difficult circumstances. Ultimately, this kind of transformation turns a life into a testimony. It becomes a living message to the world that change is real, that no one is too broken to be made whole, and that every individual carries within them the spark of a greater destiny. It proves that we are not accidents drifting through time, but purposeful creations designed to reflect love, truth, and hope. When transformation is embraced fully, it ignites a chain reaction of change, spreading light wherever darkness has taken hold. This is the kind of life that cannot be ignored, a life that radiates meaning and calls others to rise higher. To be transformed for a greater purpose is to live in alignment with the very reason you were created. It is to know that every breath has significance, every step carries weight, and every choice builds a legacy. Such a life does not fade into history unnoticed. It leaves a mark that echoes long after the journey is complete, inspiring others to pursue their own transformation and step into their greater purpose.